The insidious nature of cardiovascular disease lies in its silence. For decades before a catastrophic event like a heart attack or stroke occurs, a covert, relentless process of deterioration unfolds within the microscopic architecture of your blood vessels. This process, known as atherosclerosis, is not simply the passive accumulation of fat in a biological pipe. It is a highly active, localized inflammatory disease. It begins when the endothelium, the delicate single-cell thick inner lining, suffers microscopic trauma. This damage comes from chronic stress, fluctuating blood glucose, and circulating toxins. Once the endothelium is breached, oxidized low-density lipoproteins, LDL, penetrate the arterial wall. The immune system identifies this oxidized cholesterol as a toxic invader, dispatching macrophages to consume it. These immune cells gorge on the oxidized lipids until they swell into volatile foam cells. These cells form the necrotic core of a deadly arterial plaque. To halt this silent siege and actively reverse the rigidification of your vascular network, you must deploy a biochemical intervention that clears cholesterol and repairs the damaged endothelial lining. While many turn to the classic morning bowl of oatmeal as a first line of defense, the clinical reality is that oatmeal alone, while beneficial, is biologically incomplete. To forge a true heart shield breakfast, you must chemically activate the oatmeal. You do this by introducing a precise, synergistic botanical catalyst. To understand why oatmeal requires this catalyst, we must first appreciate its foundational mechanism. The primary therapeutic agent in oats is a unique, highly viscous soluble fiber known as beta-glucan. When beta-glucan enters the digestive tract, it hydrates to form a thick, mucilaginous gel. This gel acts as a profound metabolic sponge, specifically targeting bile acids. Your liver synthesizes bile acids from circulating cholesterol to aid in the digestion of fats. Normally, these bile acids are reabsorbed and recycled. However, the beta-glucan gel binds tightly to these bile acids, trapping them and forcing their excretion. Deprived of its recycled bile, the liver is chemically compelled to pull more LDL cholesterol out of your bloodstream to synthesize a fresh supply, effectively lowering your systemic cholesterol levels. This is the clearing phase. But what about the repair phase? The beta-glucan removes the raw material for plaque, but it does virtually nothing to heal the microscopic lesions on the arterial walls or quench the oxidative fire that makes the remaining cholesterol toxic. If your endothelium remains inflamed and rigid, you are still operating a compromised cardiovascular engine. This is the precise physiological gap that leaves millions of people frustrated when their healthy oatmeal habit fails to significantly alter their clinical outcomes. The missing link, the crucial biochemical catalyst required to transform this breakfast from a simple fiber source into a comprehensive vascular defense protocol, is the strategic integration of flaxseed. But it is not merely the presence of the seed. It is the specific, highly concentrated payload of phytonutrients housed within its hull. Flax seeds represent one of the most dense botanical reservoirs of alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a vital plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. When ALA is absorbed into the systemic circulation, it fundamentally alters the lipid composition of your cell membranes, particularly the membranes of your endothelial cells. It increases their fluidity and elasticity, directly counteracting the age-related stiffening of the arteries. Furthermore, ALA actively suppresses the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, specifically interleukins and tumor necrosis factor alpha. By cooling this systemic inflammation, the omega-3s effectively extinguish the chemical fire that oxidizes circulating LDL particles, neutralizing the primary trigger for foam cell formation. However, the vascular supremacy of the flaxseed relies on a second, far more specialized compound: lignans. Flax seeds contain up to 800 times more lignans than any other plant source on Earth. In the realm of cardiovascular endocrinology, lignans are extraordinary. Once metabolized by the bacteria in your gut into bioactive mammalian lignans, these compounds enter the bloodstream. and act as powerful systemic antioxidants. They physically intercept reactive oxygen species before they can damage the delicate endothelial lining. But their most profound effect is their ability to enhance the integrity of the vascular barrier. Lignans have been shown to reduce the expression of adhesion molecules on the surface of endothelial cells. Think of these adhesion molecules as biological Velcro. They are what inflammatory cells and cholesterol particles stick to when a plaque is forming. By suppressing these molecules, the lignans essentially coat the inside of your arteries in a microscopic layer of Teflon. The oxidized lipids and immune cells simply glide past, unable to anchor themselves to the arterial wall. When you combine the beta-glucan of the oats with the ALA and lignans of the flaxseed, you engineer a state of absolute synergistic vascular supremacy. You are simultaneously executing a two-pronged metabolic strike. The beta-glucan acts as the biological broom, sweeping the excess cholesterol out of the systemic circulation via the digestive tract. Simultaneously, the flaxseed operates as the vascular sealant, laying down anti-inflammatory fatty acids and antioxidant lignans to repair the endothelial microtraumas and actively prevent any remaining cholesterol from oxidizing or adhering to the arterial walls. This combination does not just lower a number on a lab report. It physically alters the hemodynamics of your cardiovascular system, reducing peripheral resistance, stabilizing blood pressure, and ensuring that the microscopic capillary beds feeding your heart and brain remain unobstructed and highly perfused. Yet, the clinical efficacy of this Heart Shield protocol is entirely dependent on the precise methodology of preparation, a biological nuance where the vast majority of individuals fail. The active compounds within the flaxseed are heavily fortified by nature. The outer hull of the seed is composed of a dense, indigestible cellulose matrix. If you sprinkle whole flax seeds onto your oatmeal, they will pass entirely through your gastrointestinal tract intact, acting only as roughage, while the critical omega-3s and lignans remain locked inside, completely unavailable for absorption. To access the biochemical payload, the seeds must be mechanically breached. They must be consumed exclusively in a ground or milled state. Furthermore, the ALA within the milled flaxseed is highly volatile and susceptible to thermal degradation and rapid oxidation. If you boil the ground flaxseed with the oats, the intense heat will incinerate the fragile omega-3 double bonds, rendering them pharmacologically inert and potentially creating harmful lipid peroxides. The strict medical protocol for this breakfast is therefore absolute. You must utilize steel-cut or thick-rolled oats, entirely avoiding the pre-gelatinized, sugar-laden instant varieties that provoke aggressive insulin spikes and endothelial damage. Once the oats are fully cooked and removed from the heat source, allowing the temperature to drop slightly, you must then vigorously stir in 1 to 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed. This post-cooking integration ensures that the delicate omega-3 fatty acids and lignans are gently warmed by the residual heat of the porridge, rather than destroyed by boiling water, maximizing their bioavailability as they enter your duodenum. When this exact protocol is executed with unwavering consistency over a continuous 30-day cycle, the internal metabolic landscape undergoes a radical and permanent transformation. The daily, unyielding suppression of postprandial glucose spikes, achieved by the massive density of combined soluble fiber from the oats and flax, allows your insulin receptors to regain profound sensitivity. Because insulin is the primary hormone that drives vascular inflammation and signals the body to store visceral fat, keeping insulin levels flat and stable every morning is the ultimate defense against metabolic syndrome. During the first 10 days, individuals frequently report a complete cessation of mid-morning energy crashes and a drastic reduction in systemic edema, as the normalized insulin levels allow the kidneys to excrete excess sodium. As the protocol crosses the 3-week threshold, the sustained influx of lignans and ALA begins to yield macroscopic, clinical results. The chronic, silent inflammation that drives arterial damage cools significantly, a shift that is often measurable by a sharp decline in C-reactive protein and oxidized LDL markers in a comprehensive lipid panel. The ratio of protective HDL to dangerous triglycerides optimizes. The arteries, bathed daily in anti-inflammatory lipids and protected from oxidative stress, slowly begin to regain their youthful compliance. By the end of the 30 days, you have not merely adopted a new breakfast habit. You have successfully weaponized your morning meal. You are utilizing the physical mechanics of soluble fiber to forcefully extract cholesterol from your digestive tract, while simultaneously deploying a concentrated payload of plant-based omega-3s and lignans to chemically extinguish the inflammatory fires within your vascular network. It is a masterclass in targeted, functional nutrition, proving that the preservation of a robust cardiovascular system is not reliant on aggressive pharmaceuticals, but on the precise daily application of the correct botanical tools required to shield your arteries, stabilize your metabolism, and ensure the unhindered flow of life-sustaining blood throughout the human body.